This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Prime Minister Marape on nuclear waste dumping in the Pacific Ocean. Talks on Public Solicitor's Office. And Anga village councillors penalised for harbouring crime. Good evening, you're watching National EMTV News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. Member for Migrant, Belden Nama, has asked the Prime Minister for PNG, James Marape, on PNG's stance regarding Japan's intention to release nuclear waste into the Pacific Ocean. His questions come after a media statement that was released from the Prime Minister's office showing his support towards Japan in dumping the waste to the ocean.
In the media statement released on Monday, the 12th of June, the Prime Minister stated that Papua New Guinea is of the view that Japan, with its high compliance to international standards and regulations, is meeting the requirements in managing nuclear waste and is at a point where, if it is confident it can safely release the treated water back into the natural environment, it should be allowed to do so. This statement was questioned in yesterday's Parliament sitting, where Belden Nama asked the Prime Minister if NEC has authorized him to give his assurance to the Japanese government.
Can the Prime Minister confirm if a formal diplomatic request for support had been sent by the Japanese government to our government on their intention to dump nuclear waste materials in the Pacific Ocean? My second question, Mr. Acting Speaker, is this. Was this request considered and endorsed by our National Executive Council?
If further asked, if NEC has given the approval, on what scientific basis does NEC have to make the decision?
On what scientific basis did the NEC agree to support this request?
In response, the Prime Minister said his statement was not in support of the dumping of the waste.
Mr. Acting Speaker, my statement was misconceived or misplaced in a sense that it's no unilateral clearance for them to discharge any nuclear waste, but it was stated that the test done, if it is proved that is complied with the highest test ever and the discharge is clean and safe for discharge, then they are willing, they can discharge into the water.
He said his statement does not qualify Japan to release the radioactive wastewater from its destroyed Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Prime Minister James Marape has stated in Parliament yesterday that PNG still stand against nuclear waste in the Pacific and this will never change.
In yesterday's Parliament sitting, Vanimo Green MP Belden Nama asked the Prime Minister James Marape if he is aware that PNG is a member of the Rarotonga Treaty of 1986 on Pacific Nuclear Free Zone.
Is the Prime Minister aware that Article 7 of the Rarotonga Treaty obligates our country to keep the South Pacific region free of environment pollution by radioactive waste and other radioactive matter?
Mr. Nama said the PM's announcement of assuring the dumping of the 1.3 million tons of nuclear waste in the Pacific contradicts the PNG's regional policy engagements with the Pacific Islands Forum.
The announcement by the Prime Minister of his support for Japan's intention to dump 1.3 million tons of nuclear waste in the Pacific Ocean marks a very significant shift in our regional policy engagements and alliance through the Pacific Island Forum.
Prime Minister James Marape said PNG's stance is still the same on nuclear waste in the Pacific.
Our position has not changed. we subscribe to the entire Rarotonga Treaty. We subscribe to all elements of the treaty. Discharge of untested, discharge of unsafe nuclear waste into our waters is not something we want in PNG waters or the Pacific waters.
PM Marape further elaborated that no government will allow such dangerous wastewaters to destroy ecosystems and livelihoods, and assured the House that Japan is doing its best to treat the water before it can be released.
I've also had a one-on-one conversation with the Prime Ministers. Their views were that they're doing tests. I mean, they inform me they're doing tests, the highest standard test ever available in Japan and benchmark globally. And if the waters or discharge will be discharged only when it complies with the requirement of law and international standard of discharge. So based on this, I said if the test and certification affirms that the discharge is safe and there's no destructive element or pollutant, then they can discharge, but it doesn't give them the...
Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Prime Minister James Marape said government is seriously looking at strengthening the Public Solicitor's Office to provide a legal avenue for the student bodies and the general public to seek and address issues concerning government's decision that is contrary to the Constitution. This was said following a question without notice raised by the member for Nipa Kutubu Open, Dr. Billy Joseph, on the floor of Parliament regarding the students' protest on government's decisions.
Member for Nipa Kutubu says, can the government through the Attorney General provide lawyers for the students who are not happy with the decisions made by National Executive Council?
Question from me, I'm related to Golongol Sumatin. Only strike, Bibla less law, Sumatin, all the time government like making decision, all by strike, now making plenty noise. Mostly because they don't understand what is happening. So my question to the Prime Minister is that, if the students are not happy with the decision that the executive government has made to sign this agreement, one of the avenues that they have is to go to court. But students don't have the money or the time to do it. Can the government, through the Attorney General, provide lawyers for the student if they are not happy to go to court for free of charge?
Prime Minister Marape says the state will look into a possibility of strengthening the Office of Public Solicitor, as every individual has the right to raise issues of concern in the country.
Every person has a right, including members of Parliament, to raise issues of concern for the country. It is no offense when the national government is confronted with our civil society, our people asking certain questions. And I want to also take this time to inform him. I think the Honourable Member for Nipa Kutubu's suggestion is a very important suggestion. In fact, when I was at the University of Technology, I did made, and when I was addressing our students in respect to the DCA, I did made inference that state will look into possibility of strengthening the Office of Solicitor General. The Office of Solicitor General, I beg your pardon, not Solicitor General, but Public Solicitor. The Office of the Public Solicitor, the Public Solicitor's Office has a constitutional role. At the moment, they're just attending to civil matters and small matters, but we're looking at the policy to empower the Office of the Public Solicitor to be a conduit of our public, including student body.
Marape strongly recommended for the students and the general public to go to court if they disagree with some of the government's decisions, instead of posting unnecessarily on social media or even having boycotts.
These reforms are going on, and I want to inform our country through this question. The court is there for you to run to if you feel that the government or anyone for that matter has done injustice to you, has conducted not properly, or in the instance of referring government decisions that are unconstitutional based on your opinion, then the court is the place. WhatsApp, Facebook, public protests, etc., really will not resolve any of these issues credibly.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
The East New Britain Acting Provincial Administrator Levi Mano have issued a final instruction earlier this week to all public servants employed by the East New Britain Provincial Administration to get registered with the PNG Civil and Identity Registry for their NID. East New Britain Provincial Administration Human Resource Division, in collaboration with a team from the PNG Civil and Identity Registry, visited Kokopo, Rabaul, Gazelle and Pomio districts to conduct a registry exercise for all public servants. Majority of the public servants in the district have been registered and confirmed. However, only a minority still have issues and are yet to be confirmed. As per directive from the DPM, any public servants without an NID card or certificate by the 30th of this month will automatically be put off the payroll. This applies to all public servants within the country who are employed by the government but are still without NID. This is the final opportunity given to those who are yet to be registered. Village councillors in the Anga province have been put off payroll for an indefinite period by the Anga provincial government. According to Governor Peter Ipatas, this is a new policy that they are looking at to deter the community leaders from remaining silent and harboring these criminals on the frequent tribal fights in the Anga province.
The constant fighting amongst warring tribes in the Anga province has caused the provincial government to halt fortnightly payments to village councillors. According to Anga Governor Sir Peter Ipatas, this is a new concept that his government is embarking on to encourage public servants, councillors and village court officials to become more responsible in assisting communities, security forces and the provincial government maintain peace throughout Anga. This recent clash is believed to be from two sub-clans of Nenai and Mupalu. These two sub-clans are of the Itokon clan. Security forces with local leaders have managed to contain the fighting from spreading to other clans and neighboring tribes. Provincial Police Commander Superintendent George Kakas remains hopeful that the situation will cease over time. In responding to an article published in the media, Kakas clarified that the tribesmen had high-powered firearms and were more in numbers. He elaborated further on this.
That I said I was outmanned, outgunned and without any support. I'd like to deny that because in the province I'm getting all the support from the provincial government. They were assisting me with funding, with logistics to attend to all issues, and I cannot deny their assistance. They are all there for me all the time. And the manpower, I've got the manpower from the police hierarchy and the government. They've sent me enough men. I've got 120 troops from Taroma, and that's more than enough to contain unrest or tribal fights in the province.
More so, tribal fighting in Anga province is a cultural norm but has turned violent, dangerous and catastrophic with the involvement of high-powered guns, constant supply of ammunition and the use of money to hire warlords, making it a very difficult task for the government to manage. However, PPC Kakas is hopeful and confident they will further contain the fighting from spilling onto the Highlands Highway. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Ramu 2, a major infrastructure project being managed by Kumul Consolidated Holdings, is expected to lift Yonki's electricity. However, a state guarantee is yet to be signed to make it possible for all major refurbishment and upgrade. This matter was brought up by the member for Kainantu, William Hugahuno, during the Parliament session yesterday.
To ask a question.
Ramu 2 is a significant nation-building project and key enabler to support the government's long-term development aspirations and future industrial development. Since its conception, Ramu 2 is designed to be a natural supply source of power for key mining and industrial developments on the Ramu grid. However, member for Kainantu says the progress of the project has been pending and is on hold because of the fact that the state guarantee had not been signed.
Sure, the people of Eastern Highlands and Morobe Province and the respective electorates that the government is supporting this project. Now, if not, Mr. Speaker, why not?
Prime Minister James Marape confirmed that this project is a priority project for the government as it will unbundle clean and hopefully cheaper power into the most populous grid system in PNG.
Again, appreciate people of Kainantu, people of Yonki area who have hosted the Ramu 1 project or the hydro for so long. This is an extension and it's undisputed. We need power. That part of our country that is accessing the Ramu grid or the Highlands Highway grid will have close to over 4 to 5 million Papua New Guineans within the reach of this power grid. So,
Prime Minister calls on Treasury, Kumul Consolidated Holdings, PNG Power and the project proponents to meet as soon as possible and go through the project financials and the numbers involved.
And we are in support of the Ramu 2 project. However, and I do apologize for what may seem like a long delay from Treasury's perspective, but Treasury has a fiduciary role to ensure the agreement that is signed is not burdensome on our economy, burdensome on our country, more importantly, burdensome on PNG Power.
Estagane, National MTV News.
Member for Rai Coast, Kesi Sawang, is requesting a swift investigation into suspected acidic slurry that has been disposed into the environment at the Basamuk refinery in the Madang province. She said this point in Parliament yesterday, directing 2 questions to the Minister for Mining, Se Anopala.
To the Minister for Mining, and I'd like the Minister for Environment and the Prime Minister to take note.
Member for Rai Coast, Kesi Sawang, told Parliament yesterday that early this year there was an unfortunate accident at the Basamuk refinery, resulting in what she described as widespread slurry acidic liquid disposed into the sea and the environment. Hence directed her question to Minister for Mining, Se Anopala.
The Mining Minister aware of this, and what has his department done about the issue? Mr. Speaker, the second question in relation to that is that on June 8th, there was a family of 11 who caught fish in the sea, in the bay, and after eating the fish, the mother and the 11-year-old girl had bleeding from the mouth and from the nose and died instantly, while 9 others have been admitted at the Modilon General Hospital. So I would like to, like the government to actually conduct an investigation into why that has happened, and we suspect it is from the acidic slurry that has been leaked into the environment.
In responding, Se Anopala said this was a very serious matter as lives have been lost and requested for ample time as his department will work alongside other environmental organizations to conduct further investigations into this.
It is also part mining and also part environment. So I would like to request the honorable member to place these important questions on notice so that we can attend to a proper reply. I will also be requesting the environment or SEPA to chip in, and together we can give you a full answer to the question, because this is a very serious matter and I do not have the details of the matters you are referring to.
Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Southern Highlands Provincial Government has officiated the check presentation of 4 million kina to Sino Hydro Corporation Limited to construct and upgrade the Mendi Airport in the province. This significant event happened today at the Airways Hotel in Port Moresby. Southern Highlands Provincial Government is progressing in its plans to deliver the airport services to the people. The Mendi Airport is under refurbishment by contractor Sino Hydro Corporation Limited. Today, Southern Highlands Governor William Powie has presented 4 million kina to the contractor to continue the work.
Southern Highlands Provincial Government has made available 4 million to complete the outstanding work on the Mendi Airport, so that our province will have this airport in a redeveloped package as it is now. I have with me the officials of the China Hydro Company who are here.
Although a specific time frame has not been revealed by the contractor on the completion of the project, they have revealed that after proper assessment is done, they will send the report to their management heads to approve on the specific time frame the project is to be completed. The contractor is engaged by the National Airports Corporation, and the Mendi Airport is funded by the Asian Development Bank. The Nest Fund Contribution Savings and Loan Board have appointed Christopher Elphick as chairman, succeeding Ian Tarutia. As part of the board's succession plan, Mr. Tarutia, who is the board's inaugural chairman, nominated Mr. Elphick to lead the board. Mr. Elphick brings a solid leadership background to the role. A successful member of the business community and a graduate of the Nest Fund Trainee Directors Program, Elphick was the recipient of prestigious PNG ID Young Director of the Year Award. He has demonstrated exceptional leadership during his time on the board and a deep commitment to fostering growth within the organization. These changes come as NCSL embarks on a new chapter to continuing to offer members essential and affordable financial services. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. And moving to overseas news now, hundreds of people gathered at the site of the Hunter Valley bus tragedy last night to pay respect to the victims of the bus crash.
Well, many family and friends of those victims of this tragic incident that unfolded in the Hunter Valley region on Sunday night gathered last night at the crash site in Greta, where they mourned the loss of those 10 lives that were tragically lost, as well as the survivors that were there. On top of that, there were many local residents from the town of Greta that also attended this candlelight vigil where they laid down flower wreaths and allowed them the opportunity really to thank those first responders that attended the scene and the crash site on Sunday night as well. Now, there were more than 20 passengers on that bus that flipped over on Sunday night that were taken into hospital and treated for various injuries. Most have since been discharged since Monday, but currently there are still 9 that do remain in hospital, but thankfully in a stable condition. There are 2 that remain at the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital here in Sydney, while 7 are still at the John Hunter Hospital in Newcastle receiving treatment as well. This all comes as the bus company that's at the centre of this crash was investigated and was issued 2 infringement notices by police yesterday.
A teenager was killed while working in the sandblasting factory in Perth, Western Australia yesterday.
What happened was yesterday at about 8 o'clock in the morning, the boy was rushed to hospital after an incident in Welshpool, and he later died from his injuries. It's understood he received crushing type injuries, and one of the unions says he was working on some sort of steel product before the fatality happened. Unions have come out to express their condolences to the family and also to push the message of safety following the fatality.
We need to make sure that we have enough mentors and supervision on jobs to train young workers and to stand and have their backs every day, and to make sure that workers understand what a job safety analysis is and a risk assessment.
The migrant boat that sank off the coast of Greece this week is believed to have 100 plus children in its cargo when it sank.
Hanging over this tragedy is one simple question. Should the Greek authorities have done more to save those on board? The Coast Guard says the migrants didn't want their help, a claim that's been challenged. So we've been trying to piece together exactly what happened in this disaster that seemed to unfold in slow motion. At around 8 a.m. on Tuesday, the Greek authorities are first informed about the fishing vessel. The Coast Guard has first contact at 11 a.m. and claims it doesn't request assistance. A little later, an emergency helpline for migrants in trouble at sea receives multiple distress calls, including one at 3:20 p.m. saying the captain has left the vessel. The migrant boat has no publicly available tracking data, but BBC Verify has used a ship monitoring website to follow the movements of boats in the area that offered assistance. At 3 p.m, Greece sends a nearby commercial vessel, the Lucky Sailor, to the migrant boat, supplying it with food and water. Tuesday evening, a Coast Guard vessel sails near the fishing boat and from a distance apparently concludes there was no problem with its navigation. But less than 4 hours later, the migrant boat overturns and sinks. The Greek authorities, as well as fending off criticism, have been making arrests, up to a dozen. But who was really to blame for such a huge loss of life is being fiercely debated.
Tens of thousands of people have spent the night sheltering from a powerful cyclone that hit India and southern Pakistan.
Cyclone Baby Joy made landfall on Thursday evening, bringing gale-force winds and heavy rain. More than 170,000 people have been evacuated and makeshift relief centres have been set up across the regions. A storm surge of up to 3 metres is likely to inundate low-lying coastal areas, and Indian authorities are warning the cyclone has the potential to inflict heavy damage on crops, homes and public infrastructure. The intensity of the storm is set to abate over the next few hours.
A court in Indonesia has rejected a petition that was aimed at changing the way voters elected leaders.
A defeat for the power brokers in Indonesia's largest party, the PDIP. They were the ones pushing to change voting rules so that people here would no longer directly choose candidates for the national parliament, but instead would just vote for political parties, and then the kingmakers in those parties would do some backroom deals and decide who would sit in the parliament. Now, they argued this change would help reduce vote buying by candidates during campaigns and that it would also improve the quality of members of Indonesia's parliament. But by a majority of 7-1, the judges in this constitutional court rejected this push for change, arguing that it won't solve the problem of dirty money in Indonesian politics and that the current system is more inclusive and more in line with Indonesia's democratic constitution. It must be remembered that Indonesia has only had genuine democratic elections for about 25 years. It still is, relatively speaking, a fairly young democracy, so many here saw this sort of effort to tinker with the rules as trying to reverse the progress that this nation has made in recent decades.
National MTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The PNG Football Association yesterday initiated the inaugural launch of the National Youth Soccer League. This followed a directive by FIFA to all its member associations in the Oceania region.
The PNG Football Association President John Kapinato elaborated on the importance of the event.
This is a pilot program. We want to do it well. We're working in partnership with FIFA and OFC to ensure that our youth participate, because youth is very, very important. That's why when we want to select our national team, we have to look through every ways. Now we have a platform that this youth can play on so that we see a systematic in terms of selection from the youth level to our men's senior team.
As this is just a start for the league, PNGFA hopes to have partners on board eventually and also to have women participation in the competition in time. Additionally, he spoke on the upcoming trials and the way forward for the Youth League.
Trying the Youth League, only trial now in Lae and Port Moresby, in the Northern Conference and in the Southern Conference. So we have 6 clubs in Lae, 7 clubs in Lae and 6 clubs in the Southern region. The New Guinea Islands and the Highlands region will commence next year. This is a pilot program. We want to do it well. We're working in partnership with FIFA.
With a schedule already made up for the first and second rounds, competition for the league is set to kick off this weekend. Natasha Ovoy, Trukai Sports.
Southern Highlands Provincial Government through Governor William Powie has presented 300,000 kina to the hometown National Rugby League franchise, the PRK Mendi Muruks. This happened today at the Airways Hotel in Port Moresby. An initiative by the Southern Highlands Provincial Government was set forthwith today with the presentation of 300,000 kina cheque to the Mendi Muruks. Governor Powie stated that despite the ongoing issues the province is faced with, they have showed their commitment in supporting the Muruks in rugby league and good sportsmanship.
The changing, unstable environment on the ground is not easy for rugby league as well as other aspects of life to kickstart and be commendable and be at par with the rest of the country. True. That's why I had to commend this leadership at the board level, because they give the time and effort to get these things up and running. Yeah? You know, and I think that is the challenge. We all know what the situation is. It's very unstable. We need stronger leadership, not only in rugby league but others as well, so that we can make our people to get on par with the other provinces and be determined in terms of life and progress in all aspects. So I want to make the presentation of the 300,000 at this time on behalf of the provincial government and the people of Southern Highlands to really be in our Muruk team. So,
major sponsor of the Mendi Muruks franchise, Petroleum Resources Kutubu Director Mark Sakai, whilst commending Governor Powie, elaborated on the sportsmanship package they have in place.
In 2016 and 2023, we've increased from 500,000 to 1.7 million now. So this is the package of sponsorship that comes from PRK, and this also includes my colleague, my governor and colleague director in PRK. Thank you for your support at the PRK board level as well. And this is what, and we're looking at increasing it because the games has changed, and it's the cost of running the franchise. It's increasing. You can see that.
Mendi Muruks chairman Isaac Joseph said the support from the provincial government shows unity and described this as a timely support.
They hear a lot of money coming into the team, and they talk about
this money has been paid to this, has been used for this, but rugby league today is not like it was 20 or 30 years ago. To run a franchise, you need mega millions to run that, because why you look at accommodation and salary, payment, we do all these things day in, day out, week in, week out. You need a lot of money to do that. So a lot of time people stand out there without coming into the camp to criticize, saying that, oh, this amount of money has been spent there. Where did the money go? This is a community obligation. Like me and people like Eric Mark, we come on board because it's a community obligation for us to come on board to support a team. But, I want to thank Governor and PRK for always coming on board to support this team.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The PNG Hockey Federation has held its Fun Day to raise funds to support its Team PNG contingent today at the Sir John Guy Stadium in Port Moresby. A fun-filled day was witnessed at the hockey grounds where teams of both men and women divisions gearing up with their hockey sticks to play. President of PNG Hockey Federation, Raymond Lapun, explained the cause of today's event.
What you're seeing behind me is the Fun Day. We call it the Fun Day. It is a fundraising drive for Team PNG. The 20 squad men and women who are currently in training for the Pacific Games, they did up this fundraising drive for the levies to the games. The total games, the teams that are running or that are participating in this fundraising, we have about 13 teams so far that have paid up their registration to participate for this two-day fundraising drive. So it is all the hockey community along with friends from outside that are interested in hockey. They come together to support our team, and they're doing barbecues and whatnot at the back there just to raise funds for the events.
He further elaborated that plans are underway to gear and prep up their best selected players to participate in the upcoming Pacific Games in November.
From the beginning of the year, we had a selection trials for hockey. We had 96 people enlisted to come and participate or to present themselves to be selected for the Pacific Games. They came over from East New Britain, Lae, Manus, and Port Moresby. So from that selection trials, we noted that yes, in the past we used to have national championships, but national championships are way expensive to send teams flying from other provinces. So we only got the players from the associations which they thought they'll make it, so that was cheaper for them, and most of the players that they sent through were selected. So from that 96 in total, we selected 20 male and 20 female for the two teams, for the two PNG teams that will participate in the Pacific Games.
Moving on to overseas news now, and Australia's Steve Smith has been cleared of a finger injury and is set to start in the first Ashes test against England.
Australia's star batter from 4 years ago in England, Smith sent a bit of a scare through the Australians' camp when he was hit in the nets, but the right-hander was cleared of any damage. He trained overnight and will be a massive boost for Australia. His return of 774 runs from 7 innings at an average of over 110 was the best by an Australian on English soil since Don Bradman back in 1930, with 3 centuries and only the 1 score below 80.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Looking at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region, Port Moresby City, possible rain showers, drizzles and thunderstorms, then cloudy. Daru, few showers and windy. Kerema, rain showers and possible thunderstorms, then cloudy. Alatau, brief showers tonight, then partly cloudy morning. Popondetta, rain showers and possible thunderstorms, then cloudy. In the Momase region, Ley City, rain showers and possible thunderstorms, then cloudy. Madang, partly cloudy with few overnight showers. Wewak, partly cloudy with morning few showers. Vanimo, rain showers, drizzles and possible thunderstorms, then cloudy. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, rain showers and thunderstorms, then cloudy. Kavieng, cloudy with some rain showers and possible thunderstorms. Kokopo and Rabaul, rain showers and possible thunderstorms. Kimbe, rain showers and thunderstorms, then cloudy morning. Buka, brief showers overnight, then partly cloudy. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, patchy rain drizzles, then morning fog. Goroka and Kundiawa, rain drizzles, then morning fog. Mendi and Wabeg, rain drizzles and cloudy, then morning fog.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Friday, the 16th of July 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.